Hello friends. What happens when the unstoppable force of passion meets the world of business strategy? The answer is Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, ruled by fiery Mars. Aries embodies the spirit of action, initiative, and fearless ambition. When this energy enters the realm of business, it transforms ordinary work into a battlefield of innovation, risk, and leadership. Let's explore who Aries truly is in business, through 7 vivid, psychological, and practical dimensions. After watching, if you'd like to support the channel, click the Thanks button right under this video or use the donation alerts link in the description. Your support really helps me keep creating. And of course, if you enjoy the content, please give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Thanks so much for being here. Now let's continue. The entrepreneurial flame. Aries doesn't just walk into business, they explode into it like a firecracker in a quiet room, startling everyone around with their sudden energy and fearless enthusiasm. There's no hesitation, no cautious dipping of toes into the unknown. When an Aries sees a blank page, an empty storefront, or a market nobody has dared to touch yet, something primal awakens inside them. Their first instinct is not to question whether it's possible, it's to try. For Aries, business is not simply a career or a means to security, it's an arena. It's the modern version of a battlefield where their warrior spirit can flex, compete, and prove itself. They thrive on the thrill of initiation, that electrifying moment when an idea transforms from thought to action. Where others hesitate, weighing pros and cons, Aries is already knee-deep in the experiment, testing hypotheses not through theories but through real-world fire. Imagine an Aries entrepreneur, eyes sharp, pulse racing, seeing a new trend emerge online. While analysts are still debating its longevity, Aries has already built a prototype, launched a landing page, and pitched the idea to 3 investors before lunch. They don't wait for validation, their confidence is the validation. It's this unfiltered drive that allows them to innovate faster than almost any other sign. But their fire burns in waves, bright, spontaneous, and sometimes chaotic. Aries' energy in business is raw creation energy, the kind that fuels startups, revolutions, and new industries. They're the people who dream of turning garages into tech empires, coffee chats into million-dollar deals, sketches into product lines. They don't just see what is, they see what could be and feel compelled to make it happen immediately. Their motto, "Why wait when you can start now?" is not just impulsive rhetoric, it's a deep-seated belief that life rewards motion. Aries understands intuitively that opportunity is perishable. They know that hesitation can kill potential faster than failure. Every successful Aries entrepreneur has one thing in common: a refusal to wait for permission. They believe in learning by doing, adjusting while moving, and creating momentum where none exists. Still, this same urgency can be both a blessing and a curse. When unchecked, it pushes Aries to start more projects than they can finish, to chase every shiny new idea without grounding any. They might pour their entire being into a project, only to lose interest once the excitement of the start fades. The real lesson for Aries in business is discipline, the ability to carry that initial flame into a sustainable burn. An evolved Aries learns to treat their enthusiasm like fuel rather than fireworks. Instead of burning everything at once, they learn to channel that heat into consistent progress. It's the difference between a spark that vanishes and a torch that guides. When Aries learns patience, when they discover that not all victories are won through speed, they become unstoppable. Their natural leadership combines with strategy, and their impulsiveness transforms into instinct. Every Aries entrepreneur must eventually confront the paradox of their fire. They must learn that starting is easy, but sustaining requires mastery. Some learn it through painful experience, the failed startups, the exhausted teams, the brilliant ideas that burned too hot, too fast. Yet, even in failure, Aries finds fuel. Unlike others who might retreat, Aries rises again, stronger, wiser, and hungrier. Because for Aries, every setback is just another launchpad. They don't linger on what went wrong. They pivot, they rebuild, they restart. This resilience is what makes them so powerful in business. Their confidence isn't arrogance, it's survival instinct. They must keep moving forward, because stillness feels like death to their creative soul. In meetings, Aries exudes a contagious energy. People feel it when they speak, that sharp, decisive tone, that conviction that radiates from every word. When Aries pitches an idea, it's never a bland PowerPoint, it's a performance. Their enthusiasm has gravity, pulling others into their orbit, making them believe in the impossible. Investors sense it, employees feel it, even competitors respect it, grudgingly or not. And yet, behind that confident exterior, Aries secretly battles their own impatience. They want success yesterday. They hate waiting for results, for approvals, for anything that slows down the pulse of progress. This can lead to frustration, impulsive decision-making, or sudden pivots that confuse their teams. But over time, the mature Aries learns that great businesses are like fires. They need both oxygen action and structure strategy. When Aries balances these forces, they become a creator of empires. Their fire doesn't just light a single path, it ignites movements. Think of visionary leaders who refused to accept limits, who turned their ideas into cultural revolutions. That's Aries energy in its highest form, fearless, visionary, relentless. They're often drawn to industries that thrive on innovation and adrenaline: tech, fashion, entertainment, startups, sports. These worlds match their rhythm, rewarding courage and punishing hesitation. Aries feels alive where risk lives. They see every obstacle as a challenge, every competitor as motivation. If someone says, "It can't be done," Aries hears, "Prove them wrong." Aries business stories often begin with a single daring decision: quitting a stable job, launching a product overnight, investing everything in a wild idea. And more often than not, those risks lead to breakthroughs. Even when they fail forward, learning faster than anyone else. At its core, the entrepreneurial flame of Aries is about creation with conviction. It's about the belief that every great empire starts with a single spark, and that spark is action. Aries doesn't need everything figured out before beginning. They believe clarity comes through movement, not before it. Their journey through business is a dance between impulse and insight, between passion and patience. When they finally learn to harness both, they become not just entrepreneurs, but architects of momentum. They inspire others to move, to act, to stop waiting for perfect timing. Because Aries knows the truth most people ignore: there is no perfect time. There is only now, and for Aries, now is always the best time to begin. The leader's instinct. Give Aries a room full of people, a half-formed idea, and a goal that seems just a bit too ambitious, and watch what happens. Within minutes, they're standing at the center, sleeves rolled up, eyes bright with direction. They don't ask for permission to lead, they simply become the leader through sheer energy and conviction. Leadership for Aries isn't a skill they acquire through seminars or textbooks. It's an instinct that's wired into their DNA, a reflex as natural as breathing. Aries doesn't follow hierarchies, they create them. When a situation demands clarity, when people hesitate or bicker over details, Aries steps forward, voice steady, eyes focused, slicing through confusion with decisiveness. In business, this quality is magnetic. Teams gravitate toward them because they exude certainty in moments when everyone else wavers. They may not always have the perfect plan, but their confidence gives others courage to act. And in fast-paced corporate settings where hesitation kills momentum, this trait is invaluable. Imagine a startup at a crossroads, losing morale after a failed launch. While others drown in post-mortem meetings, Aries slams their hand on the table and says, "Enough. We start again, today." Suddenly, energy returns to the room. People sit up straighter. The air thickens with purpose. That's what Aries leadership does. It revives the pulse of progress. Their fire doesn't just illuminate, it galvanizes. An Aries boss embodies a rare blend of urgency and inspiration. They lead from the front, not from the comfort of an office chair. If there's a late-night deadline, they're right there with the team, typing, calling, fixing, sweating. Their work ethic sets a tone of excellence that no motivational speech could ever replicate. The unspoken message they send is powerful: if I can give 200%, so can you. This relentless pace transforms average teams into powerhouses, for better or worse. Yet leadership through fire comes with its shadows. Aries sometimes believes that because they can do everything themselves, they should. It's not arrogance, it's conviction mixed with impatience. Delegation feels slow, trust feels risky. They fear losing control, fearing that others won't match their speed or precision. But this mindset, if unchecked, isolates them. A leader who carries the entire load alone eventually collapses under the weight of their own expectations. The journey of Aries leadership, then, is not about learning how to command. They already excel at that. It's about learning how to share command. The moment Aries realizes that empowering others doesn't diminish their strength but multiplies it, everything changes. Suddenly, they're not just a boss, they're a mentor, a catalyst. The office stops revolving around their fire and starts burning with its own constellation of smaller, sustained flames. Their instinct for leadership thrives best in environments that reward initiative. They suffocate under micromanagement or rigid corporate ladders. Aries needs autonomy, the freedom to move fast, to make calls, to fail spectacularly and recover even faster. Bureaucracy drains their essence. They're built for action, not paperwork. Give them space and a challenge that demands courage, they'll deliver results that others only dream about. One of the defining characteristics of Aries leaders is their brutal honesty. They won't sugarcoat feedback or tiptoe around egos. If something's wrong, they'll say it, loudly, clearly, and right now. Some employees find this refreshing, others find it terrifying. But even those who bristle under Aries intensity can't deny one thing. Their leaders mean what they say, and they do what they promise. Consistency earns loyalty faster than diplomacy ever could. When Aries leads a meeting, there's electricity in the air. They ask pointed questions that cut straight to the essence of a problem. They despise fluff. What's the goal? Who's accountable? What's the next move? It's not aggression, it's efficiency. Aries doesn't just chase results, they demand momentum. And when they sense that spark of ambition in someone else, they nurture it fiercely. Aries loves surrounding themselves with passionate individuals who mirror their own fire. Still, their intensity can border on intimidation. Some team members might misinterpret their urgency as anger or impatience. It's rarely personal. Aries simply burns at a higher temperature. But this is where emotional intelligence becomes their growth edge. Learning when to soften their delivery, when to listen rather than direct. This evolution turns a fiery commander into a truly transformative leader. Aries' greatest leadership moments often come during crises. When chaos reigns and uncertainty freezes others, Aries finds clarity. Pressure sharpens them. While others retreat, they advance. This fearless quality earns them admiration and, sometimes, envy. But Aries doesn't chase admiration, they chase victory. They'd rather be respected than liked, though in time, their results usually earn both. For Aries, leading is a calling. It's the pulse that keeps their professional life alive. Even outside work, they naturally assume charge, planning trips, organizing events, steering conversations. Their challenge is learning that leadership is not just about movement, it's about direction. Without strategy, motion becomes chaos. The mature Aries learns to pause, to listen, to anticipate. The pause is not weakness, it's wisdom gained through the fire of experience. When Aries finally learns to trust their team, their leadership becomes unstoppable. They delegate not because they're tired but because they understand that true power multiplies through others. They start recognizing potential in those around them, not as threats to their dominance, but as partners in their vision. The fiery I evolves into a commanding we. That's the turning point from leader to legend. And their teams, once driven by fear or adrenaline, begin to follow out of devotion. They don't work for Aries, they work with Aries. Every late night, every tough deadline feels purposeful, because their leader doesn't just demand effort, they embody it. At their best, Aries leaders ignite revolutions inside companies. They create cultures of courage, where mistakes are learning moments and innovation is expected. They transform workplaces from stagnant ponds into roaring rivers. Their energy becomes the heartbeat of progress. But at their worst, when their ego blinds them to collaboration, they risk alienating the very people who would help them succeed. The same flame that lights their path can scorch everything around them if they forget to temper it with patience and empathy. In time, though, most Aries learn that balance. They understand that commanding others is easy, inspiring them is art. And few signs master that art as completely as Aries once they evolve. Because while others lead from fear or control, Aries leads from fire. A living, breathing embodiment of momentum itself. They are the spark that begins every project, the rallying cry in every crisis, the storm before every breakthrough. Their instinct is not just to lead, it's to awaken leadership in everyone they touch. When an Aries leads with wisdom, they don't just build businesses. They build believers. The visionary risk-taker. Aries is ruled by Mars, the planet of war, action, and unrelenting momentum. In the world of business, that cosmic influence doesn't whisper, it commands. It builds within Aries a hunger to conquer, to move forward, to win. This isn't the kind of risk that comes from recklessness, though, at times, it may look that way. It's a deep, instinctual urge to test limits, to find out what's possible when everyone else is still measuring the odds. To Aries, risk isn't a warning, it's a calling. Picture an Aries standing at the edge of a metaphorical cliff, a new market, a revolutionary idea, a concept nobody else dares to touch. Where most would see a fall, Aries sees flight. Their eyes don't calculate fear, they calculate impact. They are not satisfied with predictable victories. They want the kind of success that rewrites the rules, that shifts paradigms and forces others to catch up. This audacity is the essence of their visionary nature. Every Aries entrepreneur carries a sort of inner daredevil spirit. They thrive where the unknown lives, in spaces where there are no blueprints, no mentors, no guarantees. Their intuition doesn't ask for proof, it demands experience. That's why Aries often appears at the forefront of revolutions, new technologies, new industries, new cultural movements. They're the first ones to jump into cryptocurrency before it's mainstream, to invest in a prototype that others dismiss, to hire talent based on potential rather than resumes. It's not that Aries doesn't see risk, they do. They simply refuse to let it paralyze them. For them, inaction is the real danger. They believe the worst outcome isn't failure, it's regret. And so they move, fast, fiercely, fearlessly. That forward momentum becomes their trademark, the thing that makes them unforgettable in any boardroom or startup ecosystem. Aries' relationship with risk is almost romantic. They flirt with uncertainty, seduce possibility, and dance with failure like an equal partner. When something excites their imagination, logic becomes secondary to momentum. It's not recklessness, it's faith in motion. They believe that every risk, even the failed ones, leads to insight, that each leap reveals a lesson invisible to those who stay grounded. Their Mars-driven nature gives them the stamina to endure what others can't. When a deal collapses or a product launch flops, Aries doesn't curl up in defeat. They reset, regroup, and relaunch, sometimes the very next day. This resilience, this refusal to internalize failure, is what separates them from the rest. To Aries, setbacks are simply feedback from the universe, course corrections toward ultimate success. But make no mistake, their impulsivity can, and often does, cost them. The same courage that propels them forward can blind them to warning signs. They may underestimate timelines, overestimate partners, or pour energy into an idea without fully considering logistics. In the early stages of their career, this pattern often repeats. Burst of innovation, surge of activity, burnout or collapse, followed by reinvention. It's exhausting, but also formative. Through these cycles, Aries learns the language of calculated risk. Over time, their wild bravery refines itself into wisdom. They begin to understand that not every battle needs to be fought, that sometimes the most strategic move is restraint. The mature Aries still moves boldly but with discernment. They learn to study markets before leaping, to build small before scaling big, to test before launching full force. They evolve from the warrior who charges into every fight to the general who chooses the right ones. The key transformation in an Aries risk-taker's life is the moment they realize that courage and calculation aren't opposites, they're allies. When they finally combine instinct with analysis, fire with focus, they become unstoppable. Their risks stop being random explosions of energy and start becoming masterstrokes of timing. It's this fusion that turns them from impulsive dreamers into visionaries who shape industries. Think of the innovators who refused to wait for permission, those who built products before people knew they needed them, who trusted a gut feeling over conventional wisdom. That's Aries energy. They'd rather fail spectacularly chasing the future than succeed quietly maintaining the past. They live for the adrenaline of creation, the rush of defying expectations. And every time they take a risk, they push humanity a little further forward. In meetings, Aries radiates confidence that borders on infectious. When they pitch an idea, it's not just data, it's conviction. You can feel their belief, the heat of certainty that what they're proposing isn't just possible, but inevitable. Investors sense it, clients sense it, colleagues rally behind it. Aries doesn't sell ideas, they ignite them. But to sustain this power, they must learn the quiet art of listening, to advisors, to trends, to their own fatigue. Mars gives them boundless drive, but without reflection, that drive can become self-destructive. The seasoned Aries risk-taker knows when to press forward and when to pause, to let the terrain reveal itself. It's not surrender, it's strategy disguised as patience. Aries often finds fulfillment in industries that reward this spirit: technology, innovation, design, entrepreneurship, film, sports, entertainment, worlds where bold ideas and swift action are the currencies of success. They're rarely content with routine. They crave stakes, urgency, the sense that what they're doing matters. For Aries, business isn't a job, it's a high-stakes game where creativity and courage are the only true assets. Their visionary side doesn't just manifest in big ideas, it shows up in the way they see the world. While others see problems, Aries sees opportunities disguised as chaos. A market downturn? Time to invest. A sudden shift in consumer behavior? A gap waiting to be filled. Their risk-taking isn't blind. It's fueled by pattern recognition, by an intuitive sense of timing that often borders on prophetic. Yet even visionaries have to learn humility. When an Aries overestimates their vision, they risk alienating those around them. Their "move fast or move out of the way" attitude can intimidate more cautious partners. But once they learn that leadership isn't about dragging others forward, but inspiring them to run alongside, they become truly magnetic. Their risks stop being personal gambles and start becoming collective missions. What truly sets Aries apart as a risk-taker is their relationship with fear. Most people try to eliminate it. Aries befriends it. They understand that fear is proof of potential, the sign that something worth doing lies just beyond comfort. They don't chase safety, they chase growth. This is what makes them pioneers. When Aries fire is balanced with wisdom, their risks become visionary leaps rather than reckless stunts. They stop chasing thrills and start building legacies. Their courage births companies, movements, and trends that redefine industries. Their failures become lessons that fuel future revolutions. In the end, the Aries risk-taker is not just a gambler, they are a builder of futures. They take leaps not for fame or fortune, but because standing still feels like betrayal to their nature. And every time they act, every time they dare, they remind the world that progress has never belonged to the cautious. It belongs to those brave enough to jump before the bridge is built, and trust themselves to land on their feet. Strengths and optimal signs for business partnerships. When Aries enters a partnership, the atmosphere shifts. The temperature rises, the energy multiplies, and ideas begin to move faster than logic can follow. Collaboration for Aries is not a quiet dance of compromise, it's a powerful collision of forces, a fusion of passion and momentum. They bring heat, speed, and raw confidence into any alliance. But for that fire to build something lasting, it needs oxygen, the kind that comes from partners who understand how to channel, not smother, their intensity. Aries does not thrive beside another pure firestorm. They don't need someone who mirrors their aggression or mirrors their drive. They need someone who balances it, shapes it, gives it rhythm and reason. The best collaborators for Aries are those who know how to let them lead without losing their own voice, people who recognize that Aries' impulsive genius can create sparks of innovation but also requires grounding to keep from burning out too quickly. When Aries finds the right partner, the results are nothing short of transformative. It's no longer just about business, it becomes a mission. These alliances can build empires, disrupt markets, or redefine industries. The challenge is finding a partner who can handle the pace and intensity without trying to outshine or outfight them. Aries thrives when surrounded by equals, not opponents. Leo, for instance, is the king to Aries warrior. This is one of the most dynamic duos in the zodiacal business world, two leaders who instinctively understand each other's hunger for greatness. Leo's charisma and theatrical sense of presentation bring flair and public magnetism to Aries' relentless execution. Where Aries charges into the field with a battle plan, Leo crafts the banner that inspires the troops to follow. Together, they embody the perfect blend of courage and charm. Aries builds momentum, Leo turns it into a movement. Both signs feed off recognition and achievement, and when their egos are aligned, rather than competing, they can build brands that dominate through both performance and passion. Think of them as the visionary CEO and the magnetic CMO, each amplifying the other's brilliance. Of course, this partnership demands mutual respect. If either tries to dominate, sparks can fly, and not the productive kind. But when both understand that their power grows in harmony, not hierarchy, they become unstoppable. Their offices buzz with creativity, their teams feel invincible, and their audiences, customers, investors, or fans, are drawn to the blazing confidence that radiates from everything they touch. Then there's Sagittarius, the strategist and explorer of the zodiac, a partner whose curiosity and philosophical breadth bring expansion to Aries' narrow, action-first focus. Aries is the spark, Sagittarius is the wind that carries it farther than it could ever go alone. In a business sense, Sagittarius provides vision, the big picture planning and global thinking that prevents Aries from burning bright and fast but dying young. Together, they form an almost perfect equation of energy and intellect. While Aries is fearless in launching, Sagittarius ensures that the direction of that launch leads somewhere meaningful. Aries can sometimes be too absorbed in the present, driven by the adrenaline of now. Sagittarius, with its long-range view, gently reminds Aries that success is not just about winning today, but about building a legacy that endures tomorrow. Their conversations are dynamic, a balance of "let's go" and "let's think." Aries might say, "Let's open 10 stores this year," while Sagittarius replies, "Yes, but let's choose cities that tell a story." This partnership thrives in industries like education, travel, publishing, and global startups, fields where vision must be paired with adventure. The beauty of the Aries-Sagittarius union lies in their mutual respect for freedom. Neither tries to control the other, both inspire through action. When they align their moral compass and combine their courage, they don't just build companies, they expand worlds. Next comes Gemini, the communicator, the strategist of words and connections. If Aries is the rocket, Gemini is the navigation system guiding it through the stratosphere of opportunity. Gemini's quicksilver intelligence and adaptability perfectly complement Aries' headstrong determination. While Aries acts with conviction, Gemini ensures that every action lands in the right place, with the right audience, at the right time. Together, they're a force in industries that thrive on communication, innovation, and trendsetting: marketing agencies, media startups, public relations, tech design, or influencer empires. Aries has the courage to start, Gemini has the charm to sell. Their meetings are a blur of ideas, laughter, debates, and spontaneous plans that somehow become real. Gemini loves Aries' boldness, it gives form to Gemini's endless ideas, and Aries loves Gemini's versatility, which prevents boredom from ever settling in. Still, this partnership needs one crucial rule: clarity of purpose. With so many ideas flying around, Aries must learn patience while Gemini learns focus. If both stay disciplined, they can dominate industries that depend on speed, storytelling, and innovation. It's the perfect marriage of fire and air, unstoppable momentum and agile intelligence. And then there's Aquarius, the inventor, the visionary who sees beyond the horizon. When Aries and Aquarius unite, the result is pure disruption. Aquarius brings the ideas of tomorrow. Aries brings the willpower to make them real today. This pairing often produces groundbreaking results, technological innovations, humanitarian ventures, or creative revolutions. Aries is the builder, the executor, the warrior of action. Aquarius is the architect of ideals, the thinker who asks, why not change everything? Aries doesn't wait to implement Aquarius' radical visions. They jump in and start building prototypes while others are still debating feasibility. Together, they move faster than the market, outpace competitors, and set entirely new standards. Their shared independence fuels their bond. Neither is clingy or controlling, and both thrive on innovation and freedom of thought. However, their challenge lies in communication style. Aries is direct and fiery. Aquarius is detached and cerebral. At first, Aries may find Aquarius too abstract, while Aquarius may find Aries too impulsive. But once they learn to respect each other's rhythm, Aries bringing immediacy, Aquarius bringing foresight, they form one of the most progressive power duos imaginable. Their offices don't feel like workplaces but like laboratories of the future, filled with brainstorming, experimentation, and breakthrough discoveries. What all these ideal partnerships share is a single truth: Aries thrives when matched with someone who amplifies rather than imitates. Leo adds vision and charisma, Sagittarius adds wisdom and expansion, Gemini adds communication and adaptability, Aquarius adds originality and foresight. Each of these partnerships turns Aries' solo fire into a sustainable force that can illuminate entire industries. At its best, an Aries partnership feels like the perfect storm, not destructive but electrifying. There's passion, friction, creativity, and momentum all rolled into one. When Aries finds a partner who can keep up, respect the pace, and bring balance without suppression, the combination produces magic. They are the duos who make headlines, the collaborators who start movements, the co-founders whose chemistry transforms startups into legends. In business, Aries doesn't need to tone down their flame. They just need the right person to help direct it. When paired with a partner who complements rather than competes, Aries' ambition finds structure, their chaos finds rhythm, and their fire finds purpose. These relationships, dynamic, passionate, and brilliantly productive, remind the world that great empires are rarely built alone. They're built by visionaries who find their perfect match in energy, drive, and belief. And when Aries discovers that match, whether it's the regal Leo, the wise Sagittarius, the witty Gemini, or the inventive Aquarius, they don't just succeed. They redefine what success looks like. Together, they build not only empires of profit but legacies of innovation, courage, and creativity that burn long after the flames of the moment fade. Weaknesses and challenging zodiac combinations. Every fire that burns bright also carries the potential to burn uncontrolled, and Aries, for all their brilliance, is no exception. Their energy is magnificent but volatile, inspiring but impatient, passionate yet often resistant to compromise. In business, these qualities can ignite innovation or invite chaos, depending on how they are managed and who they are paired with. Some zodiac signs naturally harmonize with Aries' drive, while others test their patience, mirror their flaws, or slow their momentum to a crawl. For Aries, partnership friction doesn't come from malice or incompetence, it comes from rhythm. Aries operates on the tempo of urgency. They are a drumbeat of action in a world that often moves too slowly for their liking. When they work with those who prioritize caution, emotional depth, or stability over rapid progress, the tension becomes palpable. To truly thrive, Aries must learn to see these clashes not as wars to win, but as lessons in understanding the diverse ways people approach ambition. The first great challenge often comes with Cancer, the emotional architect of the zodiac. Cancer, ruled by the moon, is the sign of nurture, security, and preservation, everything Aries is not. Aries sees a mountain and thinks, climb it now. Cancer sees that same mountain and wonders, is it safe? Do we have enough food for the journey? To Aries, this can feel like hesitation bordering on pessimism. To Cancer, Aries' impulsiveness can look like recklessness. In business, this dynamic plays out like a tug of war between passion and protection. Aries wants to scale fast, test ideas, and chase momentum, while Cancer prefers slow growth rooted in emotional connection and loyalty. Cancer's tendency to overthink can frustrate Aries, who believes that waiting too long is equivalent to losing ground. Meanwhile, Cancer can feel bulldozed, unseen, or emotionally drained by Aries' fiery assertiveness. Yet, beneath the tension lies potential. Aries can learn emotional intelligence from Cancer, the value of intuition, empathy, and people-centered leadership. Cancer reminds Aries that success isn't just about winning battles, it's about keeping the tribe safe and thriving. If both learn to appreciate their differences, their partnership can evolve from friction to fusion, Aries providing motion, Cancer providing meaning. Then there's Capricorn, a clash of two alphas. On paper, they should understand each other, both ambitious, both relentless, both hungry for success. But while Aries charges into battle, Capricorn builds fortresses first. Capricorn's ruling planet, Saturn, brings discipline, patience, and structure, qualities that Aries often sees as unnecessary restraint. Aries wants the quick win, Capricorn wants the permanent victory. In the boardroom, this pairing can create power struggles. Aries grows frustrated with Capricorn's endless planning and insistence on caution. Capricorn, in turn, sees Aries as impulsive, immature, and too emotionally reactive for high-stakes business. Meetings between them can feel like gladiator matches disguised as strategy sessions, each fighting not to destroy the other, but to prove whose way is right. However, the irony is that together, they hold the keys to unstoppable success. Aries injects vitality and boldness into Capricorn's methodical systems, while Capricorn teaches Aries how to sustain their energy over time. The challenge is control, learning when to lead and when to yield. If Aries can respect Capricorn's long game and Capricorn can trust Aries' instinctive timing, they can turn friction into forward motion. But without mutual respect, this partnership burns out in pride and exhaustion. The next difficult dynamic emerges with Taurus, the patient builder. Taurus is ruled by Venus, the planet of comfort, consistency, and pleasure. They value stability, predictability, and deliberate action. To Aries, this pace feels glacial. While Aries thrives on adrenaline and risk, Taurus prefers safety and certainty. Aries leaps into new ventures, Taurus asks for a feasibility study first. The result is often a cycle of irritation. Aries accuses Taurus of stagnation, while Taurus accuses Aries of recklessness. Yet, this friction can be profoundly productive if both sides adjust their expectations. Aries brings the spark that Taurus often needs to leave their comfort zone, while Taurus offers the grounding that keeps Aries' fire from consuming itself. Together, they can create enterprises that are both innovative and enduring, but only if Aries learns to slow down long enough to listen, and Taurus learns that progress sometimes requires discomfort. In business, Taurus may insist on careful budgeting, risk mitigation, and market research before a single move is made. Aries might see this as a lack of trust in their leadership or vision. But the truth is that Taurus caution is not fear, it's wisdom earned through patience. If Aries allows Taurus to build the foundation, they can climb higher together than either could alone. And then we meet Pisces, the dreamer, the artist, the empath. Pisces swims in the waters of intuition and imagination, while Aries burns in the fire of action and assertion. It's a delicate dance between two energies that live in different worlds, one emotional, one instinctive. Pisces feels deeply, sometimes to the point of paralysis. Aries acts swiftly, sometimes to the point of blindness. In business, this can create a strange mix of magic and mayhem. Pisces brings compassion, creativity, and a sense of higher purpose to their work. They see possibilities beyond profit, how a project can change lives or heal something in the world. Aries, while equally visionary, is more pragmatic and driven by measurable achievement. Pisces' idealism may frustrate Aries, who wants results, deadlines, and clear outcomes. Conversely, Pisces may feel overwhelmed by Aries' intensity and perceive it as aggression or insensitivity. And yet, there's beauty here too. Pisces can teach Aries the art of stillness, that inspiration often comes from silence, not speed. Aries can teach Pisces that dreams mean little without action. When they find balance, Aries turns Pisces' visions into tangible impact, while Pisces infuses Aries' ambition with empathy and soul. Together, they can build companies that not only succeed but inspire. What these challenging combinations reveal is not weakness in Aries, but reflection, mirrors that show where the fire must evolve. Aries often believes that power means persistence, that pushing harder will fix everything. But when faced with Cancer's emotion, Capricorn's caution, Taurus' patience, or Pisces' sensitivity, Aries learns that power also means perception, understanding timing, tone, and trust. In every failed partnership, Aries faces the same lesson. Leadership without empathy leads to isolation. To collaborate effectively, they must learn to hear as much as they speak, to let others lead when wisdom demands it. Not every situation is a battlefield, and not every disagreement is a threat. Aries' true evolution in business comes when they recognize that diplomacy can achieve what dominance cannot. They learn that not every war is worth waging, that some victories come quietly through collaboration and care. When Aries masters empathy, they stop burning bridges and start building them. Their flame no longer scorches, it illuminates. And so, for Aries, these difficult partnerships are not curses, they are crucibles. Through Cancer, they learn compassion. Through Capricorn, discipline. Through Taurus, patience. Through Pisces, grace. Each challenge tempers their fire, refining their strength until what remains is not wild heat, but pure, controlled brilliance, a flame that no longer consumes but guides. The financial mindset of Aries. For Aries, money has never been about accumulation for comfort's sake. It's about momentum, movement, and proof. To them, wealth is less a cushion and more a compass, a visible sign that their instincts were right and their actions had impact. Aries doesn't view money as safety, they view it as score. It's how they measure growth, influence, and victory. Where others hoard wealth, Aries uses it to fuel the next idea, to build the next project, to conquer the next mountain. This fiery relationship with finance begins with Mars, their ruling planet, the symbol of action, drive, and courage. Aries approaches money the way a general approaches battle, with strategy, adrenaline, and a thirst for results. The thrill isn't in holding, it's in winning. When an Aries closes a deal, launches a startup, or sees numbers climb on a chart, it's not just profit, it's validation that their vision works. Every dollar earned feels like a victory medal pinned to their ambition. But this same competitive spirit that propels them to success can also become their undoing if unchecked. Aries, driven by impulse and excitement, often leaps into financial opportunities faster than anyone else. They don't want to miss out, and they certainly don't want to be second. This impatience can lead to decisions made on instinct rather than data, investing before researching, expanding before stabilizing, or spending before saving. To Aries, waiting can feel like losing. The young Aries entrepreneur or investor often treats the financial world like a racecourse. Each risk is a thrill, each investment a new battlefield. They're drawn to high-stakes ventures, the kind that make the cautious tremble and the bold salivate. Crypto before regulation, startups before profitability, real estate before location analysis. If there's potential for explosive growth, Aries wants in. They live for the adrenaline of possibility. Yet, over time, experience teaches them something that youth rarely can. Not every victory is immediate, and not every battle is worth fighting. The mature Aries learns that money isn't just about passion, it's about patience. They discover that the most powerful moves in finance are often made quietly, through timing, restraint, and foresight. The Aries who learns to pause before pouncing becomes a financial force to be reckoned with. Their intuition is, however, one of their greatest assets. Aries has an uncanny sense of when opportunity is in the air. They can feel shifts in markets, industries, or social trends before others have even noticed. This sixth sense is what often makes them pioneers, they enter sectors early, take bold positions, and innovate in spaces others fear. But intuition without structure is volatility, and Aries must learn to anchor their gut feelings with research, mentorship, and data. When they do, their instincts evolve into something unstoppable: informed courage. Aries' approach to spending is equally bold. They're generous, sometimes extravagantly so, to their teams, their families, and themselves. They believe in rewarding effort and living vividly. A new car, a spontaneous trip, a symbolic gift. For Aries, these aren't indulgences, they're expressions of success. They see money as energy meant to circulate, not stagnate. But unchecked, this generosity can slip into wastefulness, especially when ego or emotion drives decisions. For Aries, money and identity are deeply intertwined. They want their financial story to mirror their personal one: daring, ambitious, and memorable. You won't find them content with quiet wealth hidden in offshore accounts. They prefer visible success. They like symbols, offices with views, brands that scream confidence, investments that make statements. It's not vanity as much as it is a celebration of achievement. Aries believes that if you've earned power, you should live like it. However, this visibility can attract risk. In their eagerness to prove themselves, Aries might stretch resources thin or overcommit to ventures that look impressive but lack substance. They might finance passion projects that drain cash flow or back friends' ideas out of loyalty rather than logic. This is where maturity becomes their saving grace. When Aries learns to separate emotional pride from financial prudence, their entire trajectory changes. They stop reacting and start building. The mature Aries investor knows that sustainability is sexier than speed. They begin to enjoy the long game, watching wealth compound, seeing businesses grow steadily, mastering the rhythm of reinvestment. They still take risks, but now those risks are calculated. They've learned the value of mentors, financial advisors, and accountability partners, people who can ground their enthusiasm without dulling it. Aries may always lead with fire, but wisdom teaches them to carry water too. One of the most fascinating traits in Aries' financial psychology is their ability to recover from loss. Many signs fear financial failure. Aries uses it. A bad investment, a failed startup, a market crash. These don't destroy their confidence, they forge it. To them, failure is proof that they had the courage to try. They analyze what went wrong, adapt, and re-emerge stronger. Their resilience in money matters is unmatched. They see every setback as tuition paid for a future triumph. Because of this resilience, Aries often ends up building wealth later in life, once experience tempers their speed. They accumulate wisdom the same way they once accumulated risk. Their early ventures teach them how to pivot. Their mid-career challenges teach them discipline. Their later years teach them balance. By the time most people are settling into routine, Aries is hitting their stride, investing smarter, diversifying portfolios, leading ventures that blend profit with purpose. Their courage also attracts financial opportunity in subtle ways. People trust Aries to take bold action, to lead confidently when others hesitate. Investors, partners, and clients feel their conviction and are drawn to it. That magnetic energy opens doors to collaborations, funding, and deals that wouldn't exist without Aries' fearless initiative. Even in tight economies, Aries manages to find, or create, pathways to profit. They don't wait for luck, they manufacture it through motion. For Aries, wealth becomes most meaningful when it serves as fuel for creation. They're not content just to own, they want to build. They reinvest profits into innovation, community projects, or ventures that align with their passions. Many Aries become patrons of bold ideas, funding tech innovations, art movements, or charitable causes that mirror their sense of purpose. Their legacy isn't the size of their fortune, it's the scope of their impact. But even as they evolve, Aries must guard against one final temptation: mistaking movement for progress. They love to be in the game, but sometimes the wisest financial move is rest. To step back, reassess, and let time do its work. When Aries learns that patience isn't passivity, that silence can earn more than shouting, they transcend the impulsive patterns of their youth and embody true financial mastery. At that stage, money becomes more than a scoreboard. It becomes language, a way for Aries to express vision, courage, and purpose. Their financial life turns into a reflection of their spirit, daring yet disciplined, bold yet wise. They no longer chase wealth for validation. They use it to build things that last. The evolved Aries doesn't just make money, they move it, directing capital toward progress, invention, and change. Their financial fire becomes not a flash of glory, but a sustained flame that warms everyone in its glow. And that, for Aries, is the ultimate triumph, not just earning wealth, but mastering it with the same fearless intensity that once drove them to chase it. The legacy of Aries in business. At the end of every story about power, innovation, and audacity, there's always an Aries somewhere at the start of it, a spark that ignited before the world even realized it needed fire. For Aries, business has never been just about profit, it's about pioneering. They don't want to merely participate in history, they want to write it. Their relationship with success isn't transactional, it's transformational. Every venture, every idea, every risk they take carries a single, undeniable goal: to leave a mark that time can't erase. Aries' legacy is carved not in marble boardrooms or safe portfolios, but in movement, the kind that changes industries, shifts perceptions, and inspires generations. When others talk about building something meaningful, Aries is already halfway through the blueprint, hammer in hand. They don't wait for permission, applause, or perfect timing. They create the timing. They become the permission. And that's why, across every era of commerce and creativity, the Aries archetype stands at the forefront of progress, the one who dared to begin. This need to start is deeply woven into their cosmic DNA. As the first sign of the zodiac, Aries represents birth, initiative, and raw energy, the impulse that sets everything else in motion. In business, this translates to a fearless capacity to disrupt the status quo. Whether they're launching a tech company from a garage, inventing a product that defies convention, or leading a revolution in branding, Aries doesn't follow maps. They draw them, often in the dark, often under fire, but always with conviction. Many of history's greatest entrepreneurs and innovators carry that unmistakable Aries imprint, that mixture of impatience, inspiration, and instinct that refuses to be quiet. You can see it in the eyes of every founder who says, "Why not me?" or "Let's do it differently." Aries doesn't need external validation to move. Their motivation burns from within, fueled by a desire to see the impossible made tangible. They're not afraid to look foolish, they're afraid to look still. And yet, what truly sets Aries apart is not their ability to start, but their refusal to stop. They push through failure with the same intensity they bring to success. When an Aries project collapses, it's never the end, it's a prototype for something better. Their legacy, therefore, isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. Every setback becomes part of their mythos, every challenge another reason to evolve. Where others see endings, Aries sees openings. Their courage doesn't come from ego, though ego often rides shotgun, it comes from conviction. Aries genuinely believes that action changes the world, that motion itself is sacred. In a culture obsessed with planning and predicting, Aries reminds us that creation requires doing. They live by a philosophy that history doesn't remember the careful, it remembers the courageous. And this conviction radiates through every venture they touch, whether it succeeds wildly or crashes spectacularly. This fearless energy is why Aries often becomes the template for leadership in the modern era. Their legacy in business leadership is not one of control but of momentum. They lead by movement, by example, by being the first to act when everyone else is waiting for consensus. To Aries, leadership is a living thing, not a title, not a position, but a pulse. They don't demand loyalty, they inspire it. Their teams follow not because they're told to, but because they feel the electricity of purpose in the room. And when they lead well, when maturity tempers their fire, Aries becomes the kind of leader who transforms others into leaders too. They light torches rather than guarding them. They want to be remembered not for building an empire that depends on them, but for creating a movement that thrives without them. That's the quiet evolution of Aries' legacy, the moment they realize that true power lies not in being first forever, but in empowering others to keep the flame alive.